IHMS.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. No matter how far a stream flows, it will never forget its source. Unanimous Harari proverb. Today, IHMS presents research findings of discovery and exploration of the origin of Harar. It is with great pleasure that we welcome all our audiences and viewers to today's fascinating presentation. We are honored to have Meftuh Shash. His groundbreaking work has illuminated new pathways of understanding in our quest to unravel the mysteries of Harar's past. His expertise promises to enrich our minds and ignite our imaginations as we delve deeper into the realms of research and archaeological exploration of Harar. His tireless efforts in the field of archaeology have unearthed invaluable treasures of Harar's history. In short, Meftuh's presentation explores the archaeological discoveries and civilizations that transcend the city's borders, concentrating instead on the historical era of its independence and self-governing Emirate of Harar spanning past centuries. IHMS continues to bring you fascinating, educative, and informative programs. Please join us in extending a warm welcome to Meftuh. Enjoy his presentation with your dynamic attention.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I would like to thank IHMS for extending the invitation and creating such a platform for sharing my presentation. My name is Meftuh Shash Abu Bakr and I am from Toronto, Canada. My presentation will explore the archaeological discoveries and the civilizations of Harar that transcends the city's borders, concentrating instead on the historical era of its medieval period and independent administrations spanning past centuries. And my title is The Archaeology of Historic Harar. And when I say historic Harar, I will explain that later in details. My outline: when examining the history of Harar, it is often portrayed within its present geographical context, predominantly centered around Jugal. However, there is a tendency to overlook its civilization within its historical boundaries of past centuries, pre-Harar settlements to the founding of the city. The main aim of this presentation is to explore historical journey of Harar. The discussion will cover its evolution from prehistoric times to the founding of the fortified city of Harar, examining aspects such as trade, religion, and the rise of Muslim sultanates, and the subsequent reign of the Harari Emirate of the 17th to the 19th century. Now, here, I would like to discuss the geographical location of the current and historic Harar in Ethiopia. When I say current and historic Harar, there are two different boundaries, which I will explain later. The archaeological findings, the prehistoric and historic period, pre-Harari settlements, trade, religion, and empire, the earliest settlers in historic Harar or Hararge, Islam in Ethiopia, and Ethiopia's Muslims' contribution to civilization. Geographical location, map of current Ethiopia and Harar. When I say current, on this map, it clearly indicates on the right-hand side, Harar is situated in the eastern region of present-day Ethiopia. It is traditionally believed to have been established in the 9th century. Before the foundation of Harar, archaeological evidences reveal a progression of human civilization in the Hararge area, evolving from the Stone Age to pastoral, agricultural, and eventually urban settlements. Geographical location of historic Harar, or Harari Emirate, from 1647 to 1887. Here I'm showing a map on the right-hand side that you could see is the boundaries of historic Harar. This was mapped by Dr. Enrico Cerulli, in 1936, Cerulli was an Italian scholar of Ethiopian and Somali studies. He was also governor of Shoa and Harar 1939 to 1940. So I'll take this map and show it on current Ethiopia's map. It would look like this: geographical location of historic Harar or the Emirate era. It would look like this. Now, as you could see it as I indicated from the previous map, putting it place in current Ethiopia's map, the boundaries would look like this one, which is now, as you could see, it's different than the current Harar. Archaeological findings. Archaeology is the study of layers or strata in archaeological site. Archaeology plays a crucial role in expanding our understanding of human history, contributing to knowledge about ancient civilization, their technologies, trade, network, social structure, and more. It helps us appreciate the diversity of human experiences across time and provides valuable insight into the development of human societies. Now, here I would like to discuss on prehistory. The prehistory period refers to the time before written records. It relies on archaeological evidence for understanding, encompassing the Stone Age and other epochs when societies lacked written document. As you can see on the right-hand side, I'm showing a map. Actually, this map is exactly the boundaries of Hararge. And in this map, you see a number of dots with some alphabets written on them. And at the bottom of the map are the list. Actually, these are the maps where archaeological study was conducted. Some of them are caves and others are rock shelters. And what is being found in this location or in this region in the era of prehistory? Let's look. Late Stone Age in Ethiopia. The latter Stone Age is associated with the advent of modern human behavior in Africa. The transitions from the Middle Stone Age on the Late Stone Age is thought to have occurred first in Eastern Africa between 50,000 and 39,000 years ago. And here is what's called obsidians that we see. And so what has been found within those boundaries of the previous map that I have shown? For example, here is Gursum Cave, Late Stone Age tools, or what we call obsidians. Actually, on the right-hand side, you see where I am sitting, it's a cave. This is the cave that was excavated in 2009 and 2013 by Addis Ababa University and European archaeologists. So this site is only about 30 kilometers east of Harar, and it's on the mountain chain in that area. This is one of the findings that would indicate that this cave was at one point, it was habited by a caveman or a human. Again, rock art within, as you can see on the right-hand side, this is the cave that I just mentioned or shown on the previous one. And here behind me is rock shelters. In this rock shelter, you would see a graffiti that have been destroyed, but the only remaining where I'm pointing at is right on the ceiling part or on the ceiling panel. What's rock art? Generally, rock art is an art which consists of painting, pictographic, and engraving petroglyphs. In earlier times, rock art was utilized as a means of human communication and signage, which had been supposedly held to provide a source of information and ancient people's way of life and subsistence pattern. Again, another rock art. This is actually an indication of now the transition from the Stone Age to cattle herding. Pastoral societies herd livestock as their primary form of sustenance. The origin of pastoralism dates back to around 8500 to 6500 BCE. These societies followed the hunter-gatherer stage in human development and preceded the development of agricultural communities. Again, this is within the same Harari boundaries that are found in the rock shelters. Next, again, rock art near Gursum town. Again, the same place earlier that I mentioned, about 30 kilometers east of Harar. A place is called Godororiso. Domesticated, you will find it's depicted on here is domesticated cattle and geometric signs on the panel. So these graffitis are telling us something about those people, about those pastoralists back then. Actually, what I found is very interesting is on this panel itself. Right above it, it's not possible to see it from this picture, but there is a large serpent right across, covering the entire graffiti here as an indication that was believed to be as a protectorate, meaning as kind of spiritual in nature. Again here, pastoralist rock art at Saka Sharifa, near Harar and surrounding area. This is found only 10 kilometers east of Harar. And actually, this painting with red pigments is believed to be one of the earliest paintings. And on this, we see several cattle and also human figure with bow and spears indicating as a hunter. And also on the right-hand side, these are multiple sites of caves and shelters where arts are found, an indication of this pastoral expansion right across that region. In fact, I'm just only discussing about the Harari region. These rock arts are found right across East Africa, including Horn of Africa and West Africa as well. This is an indication of human civilization transitioning from the Stone Age to the cattle herding. Now, overall, what is rock art as a heritage for Africans? Not only, in fact, for Ethiopians or Hararis, rather for Africa as a whole. So I would like to take a couple of statements from the great African leaders, like the former president of South Africa, Nelson Mandela, and also Secretary General Kofi Annan of the United Nations. African rock art is the common heritage of all Africans, but it's more than that. It is the common heritage of humanity, said President Nelson Mandela, and continues to say, African rock art must be preserved and protected for our children and our children's children, and experience, study, and contribute further to the knowledge of our distant past. And also I would like to mention of the former Secretary General of the United Nations, Kofi Annan, in 2005, is that with African rock art providing one of the oldest and most extensive records on earth of human thought, the United Nations Secretary General Kofi Annan has called on the continent's leaders to play a more active role in saving a priceless cultural heritage of all humankind that is under severe threat, above all from neglect. Now, I've discussed about the rock arts in the region, and now we see the civilization transitioned from cattle herding to farming. So as the civilization transitioned, people established farming and also started settling within that region. The emergence of urban settlements, trade, migration, and religion expansion and its influence. The settlement in the region commenced through farming, trade interaction, linking the Horn of Africa with the Red Sea countries of the Arabian Peninsula and Southeast Asia. The rise of Islam and conquest of the Arabian Peninsula, followed by its expansion into the Horn of Africa, also played a significant role in shaping migration patterns during the period. So here on the right-hand side, I'm using a map by F.X. Fable and also Bernard Hirsch from 2004 and to 2010, that the study that they have conducted on Muslim spaces. Here is a bit more urban settlements patterns, trade, migration, and religion expansion. Here, F.X. Fable and Bernard Hirsch, 2004, 2005, they mapped the entire region, actually Muslim spaces in the Horn of Africa and Ethiopia as whole. And as you could see, if you could see the arrows that I marked on the yellow, that's a trade route from Dahlak further south, and also from Tajura east, and also from Zaylak to west, from the, Tajura to west, from Zaylak to west as well, through here, as you could see it, through Hararge, again from Berbera to Hararge, and also from Berbera to south. There are some indications here, as you could see it. There are some rectangles and as well as some marks of circle here. Actually, you might be able to see it. I'll show a little bit more in details later on. And these are the graves or funerals with Muslim inscriptions that are found. And also the small dots are that we could see is all the settlements pattern that settled between 13th century. Here is more clearly that indicates, as you see it here, I marked yellow with the square, and you see here in the center, that's marked as Harar. Now, these yellow squares that you see are actually the archaeological findings of the settlements, stone-built homes. Now, pre-Harar settlements, the 7 precursors for the founding of Harar. According to Harari oral tradition, we were taught that these settlements surrounding Harar were once called Skhantgay, Tikhungay, Faragagay, Ruhugagay, Samtgay, and Harawagay. This is traditionally believed when Sheikh Abadir Umar al-Rida arrived at Harar in the 11th century. He was received by these people. Now, the people were known back then as Harlas, Gaturis. There were also the Argoba leader named as Afezero. They received him. Now, this is areas where the Harla people believed to have settled, and Sheikh Abadir Umar al-Rida reconciled these tribes and unified them and resettled them in the city of today's Harar. Now, the earliest people known to settle in historic Harar are the Harla people. Now, who were the tribes? A few names being mentioned in different books. According to Dr. Lapiso, the Mubarak, Bahar Zarah, Yakolla, Gassar, Arab, Takla, and Alka. According to Harari tradition named as listed below, these names survived through their descendants to this day. Gidaya, Wargar, Gaturi, Hargaya, Abon, and Adish. What are the findings of archaeological through satellites? Auber Khadli on satellite image. This is actually the findings, one of the findings that I've made at Auber Khadli, where currently there is a shrine named after Auber Khadli. But what I would like you to focus is on these areas. If you see, you would see small squares. Actually, these squares are homes. Once people used to live there. And I counted almost 40 on this farmland. This is what the finding looks like. Actually, this is the ruin from one of those squares that I took the picture. Here is further south, again, south of Harar, the Harla settlement ruin, south of Harar that was found. And you see the walls. It appears this wall was once a defensive wall or protection for the people who used to live there. The ruins of the Argoba village, south of Harar. This is what I found on the satellite image, and I traveled to look at the ruins, and this is what I found. Actually, this was one of the most fascinating locations that I have ever come across. It's located on a higher up mountain, and from this, I could see right about 20 to 30 kilometers right across. And this was called Afezero. And according to tradition, Afezero was the leader of one of the Amir of the Argobas, and believed to have been arrived to from the Middle East or the Arab countries back in early centuries, and he was one of them who believed to have received Sheikh Abadir. Newly found Islamic archaeological sites south of Harar. Actually, this is our recent study that we found just south of Harar, and this is also another amazing archaeological site. As you could see, the water well, actually the water well on the left-hand side, and also the defensive wall on the right-hand side. And this is an Islamic site where a mosque is found, this is again within the vicinity, within a few kilometers south of Harar. Harar ruins near Diriyadawa, Ethiopia. Actually, a lot of activities has been going on over the last decade in this area of archaeological research. And also I have a chance to visit the site for a one-day survey, and the finding is amazing. Still, the activity is going on by British archaeologists, and he did almost 5 years. The British archaeologist Timothy Insall have done 5 years research in the Hararge area. Now, Professor Ulrich Burkamber, anthropologist, notes on the Harla people. From the contemporary people of the area of our concern, only the Harari were culturally close to the Harla as representatives of highly developed peasantry with centers. Moreover, there are some striking similarities in the technological standards and even in structural details between the ruined Harla sites and the architecture of Harari town. For instance, the Harari storepits are described by Yusuf Ahmed. And Professor Ulrich is an anthropologist from Germany who has actually wrote Islamization in southeastern Ethiopia and also Muslim principalities in the Horn of Africa and so on. Now, Hararis trace their origin from the Harla people. Prior to the fortification of Harar or Jugal, Harari, likely in the form of Harari, lived elsewhere, possibly at the site of Harla or one or more of as yet uninvestigated abandoned stone town sites that are found across the eastern Harar Plateau and the Churchill Mountains. This was said by Professor Insall, 2017, during his research. Medieval trade routes and Muslim states, Muslim sultanates, 896 and to 1886. Actually, it's 1887. Here on this map, it shows on the right-hand side, you could see the shaded area. All this area was controlled by Muslims. And also on the right, on the left-hand side, the routes from Zayla, further south, west, to Aifat. These were all Muslim principalities and Muslim sultanates. There were actually, in the formation of these Muslim sultanates began on earlier on, dating back from 9th century. Islamic sultanates and dynasties. Medieval Islamic sultanates, Shah Makhzumite, Awfat, or the Walasma dynasty, Tawaro, Damot, Hadia, Fatgar, Sharka, Arba Binni, Bali, Adal sultanates, and Har Dawudi dynasty, Hargaya. All these were Muslim principalities, polities that have been formed dating back from 896 to 1205. For example, Makhzumi dynasty was from 896 to 1285. The Walasma dynasty was 1285 to 1415. Adal Sultanate, 1415 to 1647, and Dawoodi dynasty, 1647 to 1875, briefly interrupted by Egyptian occupations. Then again, 1885, and lasted to 1887. After that, all this was affected due to frequent incursion by the Christian highlands to control the trade routes and what have you. Now, import artifacts found dating from 6th centuries to 15th centuries at Harla. From the Harla site that I have shown earlier, this was found by Professor Timothy Insall, 2021. And these artifacts actually, for example, Chinese ceramics were found from 6th century to 15th centuries, Islamic coins of Mamluk dynasty, and also manufactured goods within actually the Harla town itself. Here, locally manufactured artifacts found at Harla town near Dredor by Timothy Insall. During my site visit to Harla in March of 2014, I discovered numerous artifacts, including coins, beads, grinding mills, and potteries. These items were found by local farmers while tilling the land. Coins, Islamic coins, and Mamluk Sultanates, Egypt from the 13th century, and also Chinese coins. These artifacts were by Professor Timothy Insall during his excavation that he found. Harla Museum near Dredor is now open for visitors, and I would encourage anyone who is traveling to Ethiopia and towards Harar. Probably this is one of the historic and excellent place to see our past ancestral history. The museum is with a collection of artifacts dating back from 6th centuries and what have you. Export on trade, export frankincense from Abyssinia towards the Red Sea. Again, ivory, salt, and caravan routes. Harari Emirate coins minted in Harar. These are the currencies that was used during the Emirate of Harar. Islamic and Chinese coins found at Harla near Dreidawa. What's more interesting is this Chinese coin that's found at Harla. It was dated back 1080s. The recent recovery of two ancient Chinese coins dated respectively 1080 and 1040 AD from Harla, the great ancient town near Dreidawa, poses an interesting question. How come coins from inner Oriental China ever got there about 1,000 years ago? Islamic coins found at Harla date 13th century. According to Professor Tim Insall, the silver Islamic coin found at Harla from Egypt's Mamluk period. This is what you see. This is the picture that I took when I traveled to the Harla site. Islam in Ethiopia. Islam was introduced in Ethiopia during the 7th century. Actually, it's known as the first Hijrah, introducing new social, cultural values. The earliest mosque in Massawa and Tigray, built 7th century. On the right-hand side is the one that was built in Massawa, also known as Masjid Qiblatain, and it's believed it's called the Mosque of Sahaba. And also on the left-hand side was the Najashi Mosque that recently renovated, where it's believed the Sahaba, some of them were buried here. And now it's more visitor sites with the new mosque being erected. Harar as a trading and Islamic center. As you can see on the right-hand side, the market is flourishing and trade is traveling from the east to west, from west to the Red Sea. Islamization, mosques, shrines, and madrasas. Actually, Islam was diffused. Harar as a center, Islam was diffused from Harar to various different regions right across Ethiopia. In Harar, within such a very small space of this walled city itself, it's believed to be about more than 90 mosques in the town, in the city itself, and about more than 200 shrines. That's why it's called Harar is one of the fourth holiest site in the world. Sheikh Abadir, Umar al-Rida, and Al-Sufi Yahya. Arabic inscriptions on the gate, 405 Hijrah. Right on this wall here, on the left-hand side, it's written when this environment was first built. And also on the right-hand side is the shrine of our Sufi Yahya. Actually, he was the first to establish madrasas, and our Badr was believed to be, he was the first to establish the Harari state administration. Medieval Islamic town of Nagab, Somali region in Ethiopia. This is located in the Ogaden region. Actually, as you could see, the ruins, this is all similar to that of the Harla region. And this is the residence on the left-hand side. On this one here was the mosque. This is also a medieval mosque found in 1992 by Azayas. This is located Darbiga, about 55 kilometers northwest of Harar. Actually, this was also a town that was found in this area, a ruins of a town that was found, and Azaya was from Azaya wrote about this town in 1922. and further investigation was done later on, but unfortunately, only the foundations of the ruins that was able to be found, and some artifacts almost the same as the Harla one. This is the shrine of Amir bin Mujahid and Abdul Qadir Jailan, the great scholars. And Amir Nur was the Amir of Harar on the 16th century, who is credited to have built the fortified wall, or the wall surrounding Harar, to protect it from aggression from foreign elements. And Abdul Qadir Jailan was one of the sheikhs. Shrine actually named after him, located south of Harar. Here is another mosque excavated at the village of Harla, 2014 to 2020. British and Ethiopian archaeologists conducted site excavation at several Harla settlements, unearthed 12th and 13th century mosque. The Harla Mosque was IHMS dated to Cal, AD 1155 to 1255. Actually, this mosque was excavated at that Harla location or settlement or town. Noor and Sheikh Adam Goba, these are actually the mosques this is the mosque of the earliest time, again, medieval time, located in Shawa area. And this on the right-hand side is located in Gursum, about 30 kilometers east of Harar. Ethiopians' Muslims' contribution to civilization. Healthy socio-economy status, flourishing trade, and right across the country from east to west, traveling caravans into the country. Marketplace, for example, this is one of the civilization that transcended right across Ethiopia. Handwritten Quran dated 411 Hijri, which is 1021, found in Harar, famous for skilled bookbinding. Actually, this was located at Sharif's museum. The first time I was exposed to this Quran, amazingly, was on IHMS. I found one gentleman was visiting the Harar Sharif Museum, and he was shown this. And eventually, I managed to get access to the entire Quran and confirmed the date that was mentioned here was, in fact, it was 411 Hijra, which is dated 1021. So finding Quran in Harar, this would be, I believe, the oldest one that's found, unless there is another one comes in to predate this. Astronomy. This was found also in Harar Museum. This most of it's believed this was used by caravan traders. This is on the right-hand side showing the calendar, the lunar calendar, and also on the right-hand side, the environment and what have you about when traveling for their caravans. Harari traditional house art and decoration. Actually, this is very unique decoration, unique architecture that only can be found only in Harar. And this is their unique culture, displaying all of their basketry and also their bowls as decoration on the wall. And these are the seatings, the upper seat, the lower seat, and also on the side there are closets on both sides. Traditional medicines, black seed oil. Actually, this is one of the Islamic medicine that is used in every Muslim's house most of the time. It's also called prophetic medicine because it's mentioned in the hadith that Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam instructed people, most of people, to use these medicines as are beneficial for most of ailments in human bodies. Again, 83 ethno-medicinal plants found at Harla sites. Actually, this is another research that was conducted to study plants by researchers and found 83 ethno-medicinal plants. After the arrival of Islam to Ethiopia, in fact, the knowledge that came along with it helped the society and the community itself with so many aspects, not only socioeconomic, but also health-wise as well. Fortification of Harar during the reign of Amir Nur bin Mujahid, 1551 and 1559, which is his reign period. And actually, you could see the city right around, surrounded by walls. This was to protect from any foreign aggression. That remains until today. A couple of gates, the gates of Harar. This is what's known as Asma Dimbari, and also on the right-hand side, on the left-hand side, Badrobari. And there are about five gates, which means the old ones, and one extra was added later after the occupation of Menelik in 1886. In conclusion, frequently historians prioritize according to truth and prominent religious states, neglecting their significant role in shaping our nation's civilization. In fact, many archaeologists studying these areas suggest that academic establishments have often disregarded or downplayed Islamic archaeological research. Only recently has this recognition begun to gather momentum. Still being in its nascent phase, this presentation advocates for academics and institutions to devote adequate attention to the exploration of and study of Islamic archaeology, underlining its substantial impact on Ethiopia's socio-economic and cultural advancement. Thank you for listening. And for any questions or for those of you who would like to do any research on Islamic archaeology and history in the Horn of Africa, I'll be more than happy to assist anyone. And you can reach me anytime at meftuhabubakar@gmail.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you.
IHMS.